This podcast is recorded on the traditional lands of the Boon Wurrung and the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to their elders and acknowledge their connection to this land. There's no justice without First Nations justice. Welcome to our podcast. We're back, Second City, the place where everyone's welcome and where every week we'll be asking and maybe trying to answer, if the first city falls, how do we want to build a life together in the second city? So that's us this week here in the second city, and we're trying to approach every episode with something of a theme, and the theme for this week was being Gen X. So yeah, Gen X, tell me stuff about Gen X. Tell me about your week. How's your week going, Alex?
My week's been fucking wild, and I think characteristic of Gen X is to feel like there is a big personal failing when you're exhausted by life's demands, like where we've been brought up to be a bit stoic by our boomer parents. And I think millennials and Gen Zs, from what I see in the research, they're much better at just being open about how they're feeling and what is too much, and they don't necessarily see it as their fault.
Yeah, well, we've been raised pretty much to raise ourselves, look after ourselves, get yourself home from school, get your, food. Like, your parents were busy. They weren't there. We'd pretty much dealt with our own shit and moved on, and no one really cared about our emotional state and are you okay? And we'll just suck it up and get on with it.
So true. We were the latchkey generation. Did you
Yeah.
have that term?
Yes, yeah. Get home, open the door, walk in, take care of yourself,
Yeah.
and then go to school the next day.
Yeah, I was thinking this morning as I was dropping my kids to school, and my daughter was grumpy because she was going to have to stand outside in the cold for 10 minutes before finding her classroom. And I was like, oh, in my day, I caught 3 trains, a boat and a camel to get to school,
Luxury.
That's right.
Yeah. Whereas now, I think as a parent, we're so much more in tune with mental state of our children. And society as well. It's open. People talk about, I'm not having a good day today. No one would have said that in when we were teenagers.
That's true, right?
Just
Just
get
even
off,
having
get
any
over.
kind of day.
Yeah, we would have told them to get over yourself. You're such a
Yeah.
wuss kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Brutal.
That's so toxic and brutal. Exactly,
Yeah.
right?
So
Yeah.
unkind.
And the most amazing thing was I had a group with regional men a couple of nights back, and they range from like young Gen Z to like young boomer. And you go into these groups with certain expectations, and you always have those expectations confounded. The way they were all of them talking so openly about mental health, just off their own bat, and
Amazing.
how important it is to be open about it, and how it used to be shameful, and there used to be a
Yeah.
stigma around it, and now we can all talk about it. And the Gen Z men, it was like, well, yeah, well, this is natural, this is normal, this is what sane people do. They talk about their mental struggles. And the boomer men were like, this is an amazing new thing that's going on. And what was really interesting was, as the conversation progressed, you saw this generational divide emerge between the older men still getting bogged down in notions of individual responsibility, whereas those younger men were much more able to talk about the systemic reasons for things being harder than they need to be.
Yeah.
So we've still got a ways to go, but that was actually really exciting to hear those men feel so comfortable.
Yeah, I feel like Gen X is the generation that gave permission to the self to have feelings. And then the next generations are the ones that can look at those feelings, because we're the Oprah generation, aren't we? Where you're feeling, you can own your feelings, you can name them, and there's a self-help book that'll help you get through them, which also sits like, and I don't know if this is tangential completely, but which sits within this idea of, if you have a problem, it's your fault. And therefore you are responsible for finding the solution yourself. And on the one hand, that's sort of empowering because you can take control of your own life. And that was sort of what we were all told. You can have any job you want, and as a woman you can go into the workforce and you can have kids and you can have it all. But then also says if things go wrong, that's also your fault. And I feel like that's where I'm sitting right now in my mid-40s, looking at my life going, oh my gosh, don't have the nest egg, don't have the house, haven't accumulated assets or wealth. And I feel like my generational response to that is like, well, I've failed. I've messed up. I have not done the things to get the things. And so I'm wondering if the next generation, if they're able to see systemic problems better, maybe they have a better chance of doing something about that for us all.
Well, already I kind of see that they're not going to kill themselves for their work. You know what I mean? You know, you see that their approach to work, which, you know, the current generation kind of bags them for, about, you know, soft quitting or taking a day off. And you think, you know what? That's a really good idea, because if you're feeling that you can't work 7 to 7, 5 days a week or whatever, good on you for saying, no, I'm not going to do that. But, you know, when you see these people in the workforce, we're all going, oh, they're such slack asses, you know. But you know what? I think, they're onto something. And good on them for saying, no, this is not good for my mental health or physical health. So already I see their view of the world and what they're going to do and how they want to fit in I think it's already changed compared to, say, how we were at that age.
Yeah, I've been seeing videos on Instagram of the Gen Z stare. Have you seen the Gen Z stare?
Yeah.
Which one is that? I have to figure out.
Of the many disparaging stares.
which look is that?
I wonder if as well we play the game by the rules hardcore and we don't question the rules. And I feel like they've come into the world and they've looked at our game and they've gone, your game sucks, and I'm not even going to play by those rules. Yeah. Whereas I feel like our Gen X generation is defined by either trying to obey the rules and game the rules to win the game, or break the rules and be naughty, but we've always understood the rules are the rules. And I think they're the first generation to come in and say, no, the whole game stinks.
Yeah. I find our generation was very obedient.
Yeah.
And when we couldn't be obedient, we self-harmed. Like,
the
people that I went to school with who hurt themselves, you know, in different ways. So, you know, some of them unfortunately took their own lives. Some of them had kind of substance abuse issues because they I think, you know, I'm kind of psychoanalyzing them, but I think they turn their shame inwards at not being able to
do the game,
to compete in the winner takes all first city conception of, well, there's only a very few spots to be absolute top of the pile, and if you're not top of the pile, with the growing disparity between top and bottom, you're going to go somewhere pretty unpleasant. Do you want to be around for that? And they decided no. And I don't think that's a great way of ordering things somehow, you know?
Yeah, I did feel, I mentioned last week that my superannuation fund collapsed. And it's funny because I feel like everything I've worked towards for 30 years has gone from beneath me. And the feeling that you have when the entire game implodes and you're left with nothing and you realise you never really had power over the game at all. And the chips weren't yours. And, you know, bank just took them back. And now they're gone. And all of that dedicated, it does, like, I don't play board games because they feel pointless, and that's how this all feels to me too. And actually my first thought was, in retirement, I'll just take a long walk off a short pier, you know, because what else are you going to do now? How else are we going to get through that period of our life? And in my comments on my Instagram reels talking about this, that's the same comment that I get back at me. It's either, you should have played the game better and you suck, you're victim blaming, right? You did a bad job of the game. Or the other group of people who are like, this does not work. And I'm also in this predicament. And my only thought for myself is that I can't afford to survive in the later years of my life.
So call me a brain dead idealist, but my preference is for people not to have to die en masse. Because we have a system that rewards dickheads like Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's kind of the epitome of what he's never actually created anything himself. He's not an
That's
inventor.
right.
He's
Yeah.
a guy who got really fucking lucky and has a massive risk appetite
Yeah.
and invested in other people who could do the things that he wishes
Yeah.
he could do,
He's
right? And
that
it's not,
bird that goes and sits in the other bird's nest. He's an
Yes.
Indian miner.
and he was born on third base as well,
Yeah.
you know, to the son of
Yeah.
an emerald miner, right? So I would like a system that didn't mean we had a choice either between kind of miserable penury or being locked up in some aged care hellhole or an early death. Like, there's got to be something else there, surely.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like sometimes we see examples of when second city life exists in the first city already. Like sometimes I feel like those Scandinavian countries have a little experience of what it is to live in a world where, imagine if we had free, tertiary education. Imagine if retirement centres were built next to kindergartens, so that elderly people could sit alongside and the community leans in. We say it takes a village. Well, look, here's a village. Literally, my mum's retirement village, ready and waiting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there are examples of that all over the world, aren't there? Already.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and it's like our expectations are too low to ask for that.
Right. And, I keep going back to the research subjects because they are, to me, in a sense, almost the font of all wisdom, right? But where they get stuck is in the failure of the dreaming mind, where they say, well, this is just how it is, this is how it has to be.
Yeah.
And it's like that joke where there are two fish and the first fish asks the second fish, how's the water? And the
Yeah.
second fish goes, what's water? Right? Because, we just take for granted that this is how it's always been, this is how it will always be. That's actually not true. Like, there used to be a much better social safety net, and we collectively made a decision to elect people who destroyed it. So we can collectively make a decision to elect people who build it, but we can also be builders ourselves. And also, we don't need to kind of invent the wheel here. As you said, Sonia, there's places all over the world that are doing things the right way. We just need to say, yeah, we'll have a bit of that, bit of that, bit of that, and we've got all the resources to fund it.
Yeah. It's the powers that be that choose not to pursue that. It's, if the will was there, it would happen.
Yeah. Poverty is a political choice. So the other thing I noticed in the comments of my reel is that, and I've sort of come from a framework of, I guess, what you call progressive political orientation, left wing, if you will, although I don't personally identify as any kind of wing, just like sensible and research, science driven, right? Evidence based. But the other thing I noticed in my comments when I was talking about the collapse of my super and the fact that the system isn't looking after us the way it should is how anti-government everybody is.
Yeah.
Across every, like left, right, upside down, inside out. Nobody thinks government is doing any good. And maybe that's just something that rises to the surface in an Instagram comments section. But it was interesting to me that all across the political spectrum feel like it's not working, but also, like you said, we don't have the language for the imagination of what would work. And then even if we did have the language, like I think of Richard Scarry books all the time, I'm like, this picture is what I want this, the apple car with the worm man in it, and the village, right, the village square, the marketplace of connecting with people and spending time together in the community and neighbourhoods and things. But then we don't believe that a government could deliver that for us. Like there's no relationship between things that we need and government provision anymore. It's like that doesn't exist and maybe hasn't existed since post-World War. And then I think, well, how do you rebuild that? Can there be new political voices to do that? Can we trust anyone to do that, or do we have to do it ourselves? What does that look like? How do we build the second city? What do we do?
Yeah. I think the majority of people can see that that ideal is just so far in the distance. Like it's unattainable, that they can't see the little steps of how do we get there, because it's going to take so long, because we have no faith in our government to do and act in what is best for the majority, for the everyday person. And it's just too far away. So you can't, I think a lot of people just say, well, just give up. Or not give up, but, like they have no ideas. So, and then, you see our media, they're all on board, that's how I feel.
Entertainment, the panacea
just
of the
feed the
masses.
pigeons, don't look over here. You'll be fine, look what we've got for you, something shiny and new today. No, I don't agree with that.
The most frustrating thing for me when I'm doing the research, when like the people say, oh, there's nothing to be done, and then I tell them ways that things could get fixed, and they get really excited because they realize they're not alone because of the group, because everyone in the group has been saying the same things, and I tell them as well that all the other groups have been saying the same things because this is how everybody feels. The most frustrating thing for me is that I've got nowhere to put them, right? I tell them, look, at the end of the group, get out into your communities, talk to people about this stuff, because believe me, it's everywhere. Organise. But what does that mean to the average person, to the busy person?
Yeah.
It's a hard thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think part of what we're trying to do here is firstly to make sure that people understand you're not alone, but also to start to talk about what getting together and doing stuff looks like, because even though like you might feel overwhelmed by everything you see on social media, everyone else feels overwhelmed as well. And so what becomes really meaningful are the conversations you get to have in person in your communities. So when you're talking to friends, family, neighbours, people at your sports club, wherever, those conversations have exponentially more weight than anything anyone ever sees on social media. So that's the first step. That's the first thing that we need to keep in mind. So if you ever come across something that is like, well, we could do this better, start talking to other people about it.
Yeah, I love that. Starts a conversation. Yeah, so this week, the other thing that I've been thinking about with regard to our generation, aside from tech, which maybe we'll talk about in a minute, tech, AI, the media ban that's coming on for teenagers in Australia sometime soon. The other thing I've been thinking about is that we are, and I've been thinking about it in the context of talking to my kids who are teenagers about what's happening in Gaza, and that we're the generation who have come through, we're the children of post-war parents, who my parents came to Australia as a wave of immigrants after the Second World War. My opa was a member of the underground in the Netherlands, and so we're the last generation to have that human-to-human contact with people who experienced the Second World War and have language for what they're looking at in Gaza, and even the number of famine situations that we've also been through that my kids have never seen this kind of thing before, and to look at that in their feeds.
Yes.
It's on TikTok.
Yeah. My youngest is very affected by, so my background's Armenian. So, my family members have been slaughtered, whatever, just before the First World War for the Armenian genocide. And so my youngest gets really angry all the time because like the Armenian genocide was never acknowledged, again, for political and economic reasons. It's very, very similar to the Palestinians and Gaza. It's all politics and economic reasoning, trade and whatever. So my youngest gets so worked up. We have to be really sensitive. Like I keep telling her, because all the like people that she follows on TikTok, whatever, like the celebrities and influencers or whatever, they post things. Because I've said to her, just try to minimize. Don't read it. Like I don't read the news because it's too distressing. And I say to her, please just try to limit what you're seeing. And she'll go, but Billie Eilish or, Phineas has put it on his story. So I follow Phineas and then it's on his story. So I see it.
I mean, how can you not be distressed by this? I mean, on the one hand, but on the other hand, I wrote an angry tweet because I'm an idiot who still sometimes tweets. I don't know why. That like it took the starvation of Palestinian children for like the great and good of the world to say, oh, well, this might be a problem, right? For them to begin to see that these are human beings, right? That they've been so dehumanized, and they're still being dehumanized, and only talked about in the context of geopolitics, as though they have no value. Yeah, they're pawns, right? And when statehood, Palestinian statehood, is dangled in front of them as a reward for good behavior, as though they're like errant children, and not even, because children are treated better than that, right? Do we punish North Korea, and take away statehood because we don't like the way they comport themselves, or any other number of states that do not do what America wants, what the international community wants, whatever? No, we have like really special rules for Palestinians, and they're not allowed to even complain about their own genocide without first clearing their throat and condemning Hamas. I haven't actually met anyone who thinks Hamas is a good idea. But somehow they need to make clear, or anyone who supports Palestinians needs to make clear, that they don't support the slaughter of innocent civilians, as though that's a question, that most people, on that side of politics would support the slaughter of innocent civilians. Apologies for ranting. My background is complicated. I'm a Jew, a Jewish Australian, and watching this genocide unfold has not been, it's been a lot of things, right? But the horror that I feel, I don't want to feel horror as a Jew. I want to feel horror as a human being, right? I don't think it's any more helpful to be horrified as a particular thing, right? And that's kind of what got my people into this trouble in the first place, to be so very particular about who we are. And I've seen throughout my life how stories have become weapons, how national mythologies turn into weapons to justify the most terrible things. And it's an awful time, and apologies, I've ranted for too long.
You're allowed to
No,
rant.
thank you. You're absolutely allowed to rant. Yeah, I know. I've thought a lot about you through the last few weeks. Yeah, and I think it's felt to me a little bit as someone who's I've been in the NGO sector for 30 years and have worked diligently to try and prevent the sort of scenes we're seeing from Gaza now. And famine, as you've pointed out, is an easier word to use than genocide, and the world has turned for the famine, if not the genocide, which is... So what I felt is that the matrix is split, that this idea for 30 years that I've been working as if suffering has ever been about food or economics, and I think this is the first time I've sat here and thought, this is clearly about power and silence. And maybe it always has been. And for 30 years, I've been trying to fundraise for food, and it's just I feel like my whole understanding of how I've been in the world, how we've all been in the world, the game, like I said, we believe the rules of the game, and thought that the right move was to fundraise for food. And it just feels fucking stupid when what's clearly harming is not... a proportion of money here, there, or the other. It's power and power blockages. So yeah, I felt like I don't want to be a fundraiser anymore in the charity sector. I just want to burn the game, set it on fire, and start again.
You've gotten...
That's Gen X story.
Yeah, Gen X has a lot of anger.
I think,
right?
Oh, yes.
Group hug Gen X, because like the Matrix reference as well. We're all in the same place, maybe, feeling like the fabric, like the rock has been lifted and we've realized it's all bugs. Everything's bugs.
That's it, right? Like, there aren't many silver linings to a Trump presidency other than power has been exposed for what it truly is, because it's not that different under a Joe Biden. It's just got nicer packaging, right? Like the genocide was well underway under
Yes.
Biden.
Indeed. Yeah,
Yeah.
indeed. Yeah. Yeah, so for all of us at the moment, it feels like we're all bewildered is the word I feel.
So
Yeah.
for us, like for me and my upbringing, we've always known the world acts like this just because of our history.
Yeah.
Like there's a
Yeah.
huge
True.
community. Their whole focus is just getting acknowledgement of the genocide. They live and breathe it. They're obsessed with it. So we've known that this is how the geopolitical world operates. And for us, it's like now the white world has seen what it is like. The truth has been exposed. That's how it feels for me.
Powerful. That's powerful, Lerna.
Yeah,
Thank you
like
for saying that. Yeah.
so. This is something that I grew up and I knew this is how the world operated. No one gave a shit about certain types of people.
Yep.
And now finally, the white man can see it because it's so blatantly obvious and right there in your face. How could you not have known it?
Yeah. And now I realise too that what I've been engaged in for 30 years is white saviour behaviour through the charity world, and I'm not downplaying charities, they play a powerful role in getting
Yes.
resources to people in the right time, and that's, I'm sure, what 100% of the people involved in them are trying to do, because it's what I was trying to do. But then you're just
you were doing it
a part of
from
the
your
system.
heart.
Yeah,
You were
but
doing
you're
it
still
for...
a part, you're playing the game. Fuck. Thanks, Lerna. That's important to put down. Yeah. I feel like moving into tech is trite at this point.
Tech is what is enabling
It's behind it
Us
all,
see
isn't
it.
of
Yeah.
of this concentration of power in the worst possible hands.
Exactly right. Yeah. So the tech conversation is not even just, can your 13-year-old use TikTok? Yeah, Palantir.
It's who owns like how we understand the world, right? Who owns how how one human being communicates with another human being, and then scaled to all of humanity, to the rest of all of humanity, right? The algorithmic decision making. Right? What do the algorithms reward? They reward outrage, they reward polarization, they reward division, they reward anger, they reward the worst in us.
Yeah.
And then once they get to know you, they keep feeding that to you.
That's
You know?
exactly right.
They're bastards. Absolute bastardry.
But it's not a completely closed system yet. Shit still surfaces, right? So we know stuff about Gaza, for example, that we wouldn't necessarily have known anywhere near as quickly if we had the old media environment where it was all kind of concentrated. Like, because, there was the Rwanda genocide in the 90s, right? And we found out about it and we cared about it and everything, but it wasn't as omnipresent as this genocide is, particularly for young people.
Yes, like your youngest learner. I remember Scarlett, our eldest, telling me that she's watching it on TikTok and you can't get away from it. Yeah. And then that, like the pandemic, frames their whole view of how is life? This is life. What is the world? This is the world.
It was exactly like that.
And so then that social media ban is, 2 years too late, 10 years too late for this generation of kids.
I hate this social media ban. I hate it because it's a knee-jerk reaction, and on I really enjoy the Lamestream Media podcast with Osman Faruqi and Scott Mitchell. And Osman Faruqi is convinced that it's because some radio shock jock goaded Albo, that Albo just ran with the policy, right? Like we hadn't, that was the first mention of a social media ban, right? And experts have condemned this. Experts have said this cannot work as it is intended. There's so much that can and needs to be done to protect users of all ages, to protect our privacy, to protect our data, to do all manner of things that is not being done. And instead we've got this simplistic thing that is a good soundbite, but is completely unworkable, will protect no one. And it makes me really, really angry because it's half-arsing something, not even half-arsing, it's eighth-arsing something critical.
I agree. So this is an example of Gen X versus now. So my girls, I don't wear makeup. My girls learnt how to apply makeup. You know, they've learnt things, healthy things of social media. I didn't have that as a teenager. My mum, you know, she was a migrant. She was working. She wouldn't know what I'm supposed to dress for, you know, dress up day or whatever. I was like a freaking dag, seriously. And I didn't have an older sister. I had no one to help me, no one to teach me, oh, this is the way you do it. My girls have used, you know, social media to see how you do your hair, how do you do your makeup. You know, they do cooking, they bake, they get recipes. They use social media in a really healthy way. It's like an older sibling to them. You know,
Right.
we didn't have that. And it's such a fabulous thing for these kids. And that's a healthy way to use social media. And now, for like, I don't know how they're going to do it, but this is all cut off now for those kids that are alone or have no idea or are in, you know, regional areas and they're lonely, and that there is still healthy, there's good parts of social media. And, you know, I would have
Yep.
loved to have those parts when I was a 15-year-old. So I think it's a huge mistake as well. There must have been a better way to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
LGBTQIA plus
Yeah.
kids, right?
Neurodiverse
Like
kids. Yeah.
neurodiverse kids, just
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
marginalised kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
And-
Finding your people.
And they will find their people on other less well-known platforms as well. They're not going to just go out and play sport the way Albo
Yes.
suggested they should. Like,
Exactly, Alex. Exactly. It's so good for your not your traditional cliche teenager that they picture.
4chan and 8chan are still going to be available.
God, Alex.
Isn't that a
yes.
bullshit?
Exactly. Yeah. It just feels like it feels back to front. It feels like what's lacking is connection, and so they're trying to shut down the thing that maybe they think is stopping connection. Instead of, for instance, if you want kids to play sport, mandate, you know, in all workplaces, flexibility for parents to go home at 3 to pick up their kids from school and take them to sport. Make space for community instead of, you know, kill the community that has.
And not everyone
grown in
wants
the
to do
edges.
sport. You know, not everyone wants to be that kid.
God, no. Not my kids. Yeah.
Reorganise the economy just a little bit so that parents can afford to
Yeah.
send their kids to whatever extracurricular things, get them away from their screens, right? Like,
Yes.
make life better.
That's
Don't
it. Yeah.
ban.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So don't burn the first city, build the second city.
Yeah. It's just really lazy, you know, policy making.
Yeah.
And I love that because, you know, burning the first city before you've built the second city means that everybody's homeless.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Leads to anarchy. Had a bunch of other things down here under Gen X parenting and comparing it with previous generations and this generation. What are we better at? What are we worse at? What are the implications of this? Alex has made a note here about Lerner having to teach Alex what pan means.
That was very funny.
Tell that story.
I learnt with my youngest because she came home. She started year 7. She came home and she goes, "Mum, everyone says they're pan. What does that mean?" I go, "I don't know." It's like, I have no idea. Let's have a look. Let's look it up together. There's a difference from our generation to this generation.
True,
Actually
true.
admitting you have no idea.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Let's look it up together. And then I said, "Oh," and then one of the mums from our primary school, we were chatting once and she said, "Oh, her son was pan." And I said, "I really don't know what that is." And she said, "Oh, you're attracted to personalities. You're attracted to, doesn't matter whoever the person is, you just are attracted to their personality and to that person." And then my youngest and I were looking it up and I said, "Oh, this is what it means." She's learning all these words, but yes, that's how we learnt together.
And we were sitting over a bowl of chips
Yes.
and you said something about pan and like how everybody's pan or something. And I go, "Okay, Lerner, I've heard of it. I've heard of pan, but I don't know what it is. How's it different from bi?" And Lerner explains to me that bi is like, I think that, you know, a cis male is attracted
Yes.
to cis male or female and vice
Yes.
and whatever. But pan is like it can be anything.
Everyone.
Your horizons are clear.
Yeah.
Like many other Gen X folk, I learnt from Schitt's Creek
Oh, I love that show,
that it's the
Sonia.
wine, not the label.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. David was a beauty.
I know. Oh, I know. I should rewatch. We should all start it again. I feel like it's been enough time.
Yeah, I binge watched it again in April. Just
Okay.
like, I have to watch it because it's just such a loving
I know.
show.
It's so beautiful.
And I was
isn't
telling
it?
Alex, I was watching the documentary. Have you seen the documentary on Netflix of when they were filming the very last season? And
Yeah,
then
okay,
they
I
went
know
to
that.
like those, they go to those shows and stuff when all the fans come and see you. They're something cons. I can't remember.
Like a Comic Con.
Yeah, like that. And one thing they said was that, the people that were coming to see us were just giving us the love back that they felt from the show. And I said, yes, that's what this podcast is going to do. We're going to give the love out to everyone, and everyone is going to come and see us and give the love back. And it's just going to be like a circle.
Yeah.
But that's how you felt watching Schitt's Creek.
It's Second City, isn't it? Because it's and
Yes.
so that tells us what Second City is. It's
Yes.
welcoming and it's inclusive and
Of
it's
all.
diverse. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You are celebrating the humanness of everyone,
Beautiful.
you know?
And you can actually build more and like do more and achieve more. And like all those first city aspirations, they're done actually better in a collaborative setup where people aren't kind of put through the meat grinder in order to just make sure a few of the people enjoy the spoils of it all.
Yep.
Sorry, that went really dark after.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm going to use the term meat grinder when you say open and welcoming. That's just how this works.
Because you know what?
Yeah,
Like,
I love that.
who makes these rules? Who
Yeah,
says
totally.
this is the way it's going to be? Bullshit.
Yeah.
Who designed this? Who said this is the way it has to be?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We can redesign this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Redo the board game. And I like about it, Schitt's Creek and Second City, that idea of inclusivity, that it puts differentness against each other. So then you see different experiences, which
Yes.
means you can empathetically imagine different experiences. I feel like that strengthens EQ, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
I need my EQ strengthened. Do
EQ
not have
workout.
I don't
Come
know,
to
you
the Second
don't.
City for an
I
EQ
don't
workout.
think you do
I
at
don't think you
all.
do at all, no.
You're
I
very
think you-
kind, and I love you both, and you love me, and that's why you think that, right? Everything I know about human beings has been like hard learned.
I also think we're not taught or encouraged to listen to our guts about people or the world. So we're all stuck in our frontal lobe. And I once read a book called Blink. It's on my bookshelf somewhere, where the idea that before you blink, in 0.7 of a second, all of the things that you know about a situation or a person tend to hold up for the next 6 weeks, 6 months, or 6 years. And so actually your gut instinct is most accurate, and no amount of cognitive reprocessing of the first instinctive thought is likely to change your idea of someone.
I was listening to a podcast about exactly that, about Blink, and the really interesting kind of corollary is that the more expertise you have, the more your gut response is going to be accurate. So, like, if you have a gut reaction to something that you don't know anything about, it can kind of be like a guess. But if you have deep expertise on a matter, literally within the first millisecond, whatever it is, your first guess is likely to be right. But the thing is, we've been around humans, most of us, since we were born. So we know what other humans are. And so our gut responses to other humans are likely to be right.
We should talk more about this on another
Yeah,
episode.
and I know I've talked about it before, but the premise of my whole manuscript is listen to your gut. So it's called Six Leaves, and it relates to your sixth sense, and that is the whole message of the story. I have to send you the manuscript for you
Oh
to
my
read.
gosh,
Sonia.
please do. Yeah.
I mean, it's a
please do.
kid's book, but I reckon we
I
can
love
read it.
kids' books. Yeah.
Yeah,
heck
but it's about everyone has to listen to your
Yeah.
inner gut. your instinct.
Sounds really parabolic, Lona.
It's never wrong.
Yep. Okie dokie. So we're kind of up to the hour. So I
Yes.
suppose we should probably
Did you want
begin
to quickly just talk about how we can try to not feel so sad?
Yes, that's a great idea. What have you got, Lona?
I don't have anything. That's why I'm bringing it out.
Oh.
Lots of stuff.
actually,
Oh,
yeah.
go for it. Go for it.
No, I was going to say what I have been doing is I have been getting up every morning, and well, I have the privilege that I can walk to the beach. I get up and I
That's
walk.
nice. Yep.
I walk through the bushland along the on the other side of Beach Road, and I just walk in nature, and I make myself go and look at it. I look at the water. I look at the trees and the bushes. It brings me back into my gratefulness. Think, okay, I can handle this day, and I come home.
That's magic. Yep.
That's what
Love
I've been
that.
trying to do. Go, Alex.
I love that. And it was kind of what I was going to say, because like I think a lot is placed on the individual to like make yourself happy in a world that feels like it's falling apart, right? But the thing is, we've got to do what we can, right? So things like going for a walk, it's a good thing, but also finding the good people in your life and just having a chat and seeing like how they're doing and getting out of your own head a little bit is really, really, really good. And if you've got any spare bandwidth or spare capacity, seeing how you can maybe help other people, that always is like a massive dopamine hit. And when you go for a walk, like go to parks, if you don't mind an animal, like go look for some dogs and just randomly pat them. My kids do that. They just introduce themselves to strangers. They've got no shame. They don't give a shit. There's a fucking dog, and they're going to play with that dog.
Pat a dog. Words
Good
to
on
live
them.
by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I truly am beginning to think that dogs are like angels.
Yes.
Sent from evolution to be our companions because
Yes.
they're so selfless in the way they love. Yeah.
Yes. And listen to music. I
that's
have
a
to.
good one.
Listening to music will just, any music that you love, go see a show. That's another thing for another day. Arts have to be accessible to all. It's too expensive.
Oh, yeah,
That's
let's talk
another
about that.
topic
Yeah,
that we have to talk
that's a good
about,
one.
how
Yeah.
culture is not
Yes, to fill
accessible
the tank.
to yes, can they,
Psycho-spiritually, damn it.
yes, it uplifts
Yeah.
your soul.
Yeah.
You know, going to see performances and music and
Yeah.
shows, and
Yeah, true.
too
Don't we-
expensive.
The difference between the price of something and the value of something, man, we need
Yeah,
to
it's a
rethink
topic
that.
for another day.
That's
Write
a
it down.
topic for another. Okay, all right. Yeah, good one. All right, this is wonderful.
No,
You're
also,
my
shut
happy
us up.
If you can, and you're perimenopausal, Estrogel.
Yeah.
Estrogel makes you much happier.
True.
Lift weights. I've been lifting.
Oh,
heavy weights.
yeah.
Okay, Gen
That
X,
has
go get yourself
shifted
a
my
weight
mood.
set.
Yes.
Oh,
And
true.
punching exercises.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, do like a dance fit session where you have to punch in the air. Get all
Yes,
your
okay.
aggressions out.
So true. I love this. And
Yeah.
film it and share it with your friends because that's great.
Oh no, we can't stop talking.
I love you guys.
I love
I
you
love you
guys.
too.
All right. I
Bye.
guess we can stop filming.
Yes,
Can we
yes.
just hang
Okay.
around?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
'cause, yeah.